Okay, welcome everybody to our Beautycounter Consultant Opportunity Call. We're really excited that you are here. I am Dr. Megan Burt, and I run the website meganburt.com, and I have the podcast, the Just Enjoy Health podcast. That's just a very little bit about me business-wise, and then I'm a wife and a mama to two little girls. Natasha?
I will introduce myself too. Sorry, I was distracted by the chat box. Okay, my name's Natasha Red. I've got two kiddos, a boy and a girl, married to Jordan. We live in southeastern Massachusetts. I am the creator of the Seasonal Meal Planner, and I help women to simplify their meals and to have an intentional, grace-filled approach to hospitality. So yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So I want to give you guys a little introduction quickly to see what we're going to cover in this call. So if you are watching the replay, you know what everything's going to be. So first off, we're going to tell you our Beautycounter stories, because we feel like the reason we joined Beautycounter is we want you to know the why behind it, and how from the day we signed up, it looks different than what we do now, and why we're excited to share this opportunity. Then we're going to go through some nuts and bolts of being a consultant. Like, what does it entail? How much is it to sign up? All of those details. And then we'll go into some questions and some answers and just some frequently asked questions that we get. And then at the end, we're going to have a special offer for signing up. So we just want to let you guys know that from the get-go. That will be at the end. Okay, anything else that you want to add, Natasha?
No, I'm good.
Wonderful. Well, then I will jump into my story a little bit more of me starting Beautycounter, what that looked like, how it's morphed over the last 4 years, because I've been a consultant for 4 years when Beautycounter was pretty much a baby and nobody knew that much about it, and I didn't know about it, and I had this opportunity brought to me because I am a chiropractor by trade. That is my degree. I worked in practice for 6 years, and then I had a food blog called Just Enjoy Food, which has morphed into way more. And so I always called it a really expensive hobby because it wasn't a business, but I loved it. And I saw that there would potentially be something for it in the future, and just felt like that's what the Lord wanted for me. And so I loved creating recipes, putting out content. And so I do that in my free time when I wasn't working as a chiropractor. And it was great to have recipes and resources for my patients. And then about a year before I had our daughter, I left practice, and I thought, well, let's see if this blog can become a business, because we wanted me to stay home. We had kids, and we didn't know how that was financially going to work with all the student loans that we had. And we just decided to trust the Lord and to take this step even before I was pregnant. And it seemed like the right time. And we took a very big leap of faith, and I launched my health coaching business. I worked with clients virtually online, and I loved doing that. And then it was just a few months. I signed up for Beautycounter, I think the week I launched my business. So it was so far on the back burner, but I signed up because I loved Beautycounter right from the get-go. I loved their transparency for all of the ingredients, things that they tested for. And so I worked in practice detoxing heavy metals out of people's bodies. I did it for years. We would provoke heavy metals out of the body to test the levels. And so to know that a company was, number one, aware that heavy metals could be in color cosmetics, and that they tested for it not once, not twice, but 3 times, I signed up right away and I got a lipstick. And my long-term goal for Beautycounter at this time was to make about $200 a month, and that I could send somebody to a link. So it was a glorified affiliate program. I could send them to a link and say, buy anything, I trust them. And that was huge, because in practice, I just intentionally but unintentionally just shied away from having the personal care product, beauty, especially beauty conversation, because shampoo and skincare and makeup is very personal. It's very hard to find good, clean products, brands that I trusted. And so it was hard to say, go to the co-op, go to Whole Foods, go to your natural food store, and spend tons of money trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. Most likely none of them will perform well. And you're not going to like it as well as your more toxic, harmful, conventional stuff, but it's better for you, even though your makeup's going to look not so great. It was just hard to say that. And so I just kind of didn't. And so I was like, great, I will have a place to send people. And that was that. And so then I was doing my business. I launched my podcast. I found out I was pregnant the same week that I launched my podcast, which is kind of ironic. I was like, oh, well, I'm really tired and I have this new big thing, which I was excited about. And I found out very quickly that I did not want to work with clients and patients once I had a baby. And so then it was kind of back to the drawing board of like, well, what do I do with my business then? And I was kind of going back and forth with all of these different things. And during my pregnancy, I had signed up my first consultant, and she started growing her business and her team, and people were buying, even though I barely promoted it. And it was enough to just maintain being a consultant. And I got my first paycheck while I was on maternity leave, not really doing any work. I had all this pre-scheduled stuff. And I thought there's something to this Beautycounter thing. And that was now 3 years ago. So it was kind of like piece by piece as I became a mom, as I realized that my capacity to do business and motherhood, there's just not a lot. I want to spend as much time as I can with my kids. So it's kind of piece by piece. I shut off all of these things that I was doing for business and saying yes to. And Natasha, your story will be similar in this. It's like, I can't do that. Do I really feel called to doing this? And there was many things I just said, I can't do any of it. I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to shut my virtual health coaching down. And the things that kind of remained and that I really enjoyed doing was my podcast, my blog, and then Beautycounter. And that really surprised me because I did not think that would be the thing I landed on and I landed with. But the products, the company, I would say the simplicity, not that this business is necessarily easy, but the simplicity of this business, I loved. I loved that just how involved HQ, like Beautycounter, is in teaching us consultants and just sharing all these things with us is very simple to put into practice. And so I went from working full time to then about trying to get 20 hours in with my daughter. And then now I have 2 kids, and we'll go into kind of our hours and things, but I've had to cut a lot down. And the vast majority of my time in business is spent on Beautycounter. And I just have found that I love it. I love interacting with my team. I love that Natasha is on my team. So we get to like chat life stuff, and we get to chat business, and we get to strategize, and it's just really fun to be able to do that. So now I think I spend about 75% of my time on Beautycounter, and it is the income wise, because we're talking the business. We want to talk some income too. It is the thing that brings in at least 90% of the income in my business. And that's partially strategic too, because I don't have a lot of time and capacity to put into other things to monetize my podcast. And so I've just said, okay, this is where the money's coming in. Now I can use this not only to bless our family, but I can put this back into my business and run essentially the health side of things, not looking to make money in that part of my business. So that might sound kind of funny and like, well, like, I guess what I'm trying to say, you might say, why don't I do more over there? It's just not where I have time, and I'm not going to make that time. And so it's been great because I can still teach what I love and what I'm learning and what I know, but I don't have to create my own products. I'm not creating my own skincare. I'm not in a lab. I'm not trying to figure out what color cosmetics work. Like, I know I have a company that I trust and that I enjoy doing this. And then I can fuel just not having to really stress out about, okay, this thing that I launch has to, bring in some income, because your business does have to make money when it comes to the podcast or a resource that I put out. I just get to teach women about health, which I love to do. So I think that's my story. Natasha, you can jump into yours.
Okay. So prior to starting my own business, I was in college ministry. And I did that for about 5 years until I became pregnant with my first child, Reagan. And when that happened, I knew there was a shift happening, a transition happening. Probably the year before I left staff with this organization, I kept feeling like I want to do something in food. It's always been a passion of mine. I started understanding and seeing that I had a gifting for hospitality and an inclination towards hospitality. And I really love teaching the Bible. I love teaching and resourcing students on how to share their faith, all that kind of stuff. And so all of those different skills, my organizational skills, my love for food, my care and love for women, it all kind of culminated in, okay, I can't be on staff anymore because with a newborn, I can't like go on campus and meet with these girls. So I kind of did some coaching with this organization, helping missionaries be raising their support, going overseas, things like that. And then just felt like, okay, the Lord has moved me on. My heart wasn't super in it anymore. And he was giving me this like big creative idea to start a blog. I thought that was my first step. I'm just going to start a blog. I'm going to write every day. I'm going to share my experiences with hospitality and share recipes. And it just kind of started growing, you know. After that, I felt like there was a big need for what ended up being what I created, the seasonal meal planner. This huge need, especially among young moms and young women who maybe didn't get the benefit of being taught how to cook real whole food by their family, mom or dad or whoever growing up, and who were now married or starting a family and realizing the most stressful time of my day is 5 o'clock when I'm trying to get dinner on the table, trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life to feed my people. And I wanted to just streamline that whole process for people. And so I created this physical product. And physical products, I will say this up front because we'll talk about the numbers of what it costs to join Beautycounter a little bit later. But my upfront investment for my business was $2,000. And then I think I continued to spend more thousands of dollars, like you said, Megan, a really expensive hobby, just to get it started, because websites, designs, branding, photography, it all costs so much money, right? To create this online presence where you can get content out there. But I'm doing it and I'm like, this is great. Totally feel called to it. Still feel called to this message and to this, product, but it's definitely evolved over time. And kind of during that time as well, as I started having children is really when I started hunkering down on my health. I started really, we took a birth class. We decided to have Reagan at a birth center. I just started learning, what's to our health system, what's to our food, what's going on with all this stuff. I changed out a lot of our cleaning products to non-toxic. I started eating a lot better, started playing around with fermenting foods. What was I going to feed my new baby? Like just different things like that. But the one area that I just got so hung up on was personal care products. I was like, I'm going to DIY everything. And that fizzled out real quick because, if you've ever tried to DIY your shampoo or your makeup or anything of like substance like that, I just feel like the experts were like supposed to do that and not me, because it didn't work. I mean, DIY makeup is not a good thing. Let's just leave it at that.
DIY body butter, and I feel like that's about where my skill lands.
Exactly. I've made a homemade lotion that actually was like pretty okay. And that was like the only thing that I was like, well, this is my only safer swap. So what am I going to do? I didn't really know like who to search for. I knew of one company that made like small batch makeup products. I remember even buying their concealer and it was like not good, not returnable. They had great eyeshadow, but like, there were so many products that we put in our bodies every day that I couldn't replace. So I basically threw that to the back burner. So that's kind of like happening as I'm like starting this business and doing all this stuff. So I kind of went on, producing this product and writing on my blog, producing content, teaching classes online, educating women, and loved it significantly. Well, about a year and a half ago, my husband and I were presented with this opportunity to move to New England, which is where we are right now. We used to be in Texas, and plant a church, be a part of a team that was going to be planting a church here in this area. And so I had this kind of like possible vision in my future of, okay, what would it take to be able to get there and do that? So that was like life circumstances going on. Had my second baby, time got more constricted, obviously, because of that. And at the same time, my business was at a place where I started realizing, okay, I'm selling meal planners, but not to the degree where it's like even covering what it costs to produce a physical product. It costs so much money, and it takes a lot of time to produce a physical product from scratch yourself. So I was kind of in this place where I didn't totally know it yet, but the Lord totally worked this out where like Megan posted something on Instagram. I remember she posted something that was like, she purchased a new MacBook with her Beautycounter earnings. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, you bought a laptop with your Beautycounter money. Like, what? Because, I was just like, it didn't even compute to me. I had heard of the brand before. I'd seen people post about it online, never tried the products, but I just reached out to her and was like, hey, I would like to learn more about this because my business needs to make money to keep going. Like, it needs to actually start profiting. You kind of like hit this curve where you're like, well, I'm not even trying to necessarily pay myself. I just need to pay the bills for my business to keep this going, essentially. And so it just kind of like all the puzzle pieces came together really well. I tried some products. I genuinely loved them. I felt like I saw a significant difference in my skin within a week of using these products. And I was like, okay, here's my big curl skincare routine. Here are the products that I didn't even know existed. And I mean, Beautycounter is a very young brand, so it's not like they've been around for years and years and I just missed it. But now I can finally swap out these products. Well, after my second son was born, it's like a culmination of all these different things. Hopefully my story is making sense. But after my son was born, I had significant gut issues. His pregnancy was very stressful and very, it was kind of a high-risk pregnancy. It took a huge toll on my body, specifically my gut. So I was in this very intense gut healing protocol. And one of the things that my chiropractor told me was check your toxic load. And at first I thought, what do you mean? Like, I eat so well. I eat basically Whole30 or paleo. I eat really good food. I've got clean products in my home. I don't use toxic chemicals to clean my home. Like, what are you talking about? And it wasn't until I actually signed up with Beautycounter that then it like sort of all started clicking, like, oh my word, like you still have, I mean, run the gamut of all my personal care products that many of them, I think I had switched out like maybe my deodorant and my toothpaste at that point or something, but most of them were still toxic, even though a lot of them claim to be natural. They really weren't. They still had ingredients that were harmful to my health. And so it just aligned so beautifully where I was like, I love these products. I'm already going to buy them. I might as well get the discount. I'm already going to share them with people. So why not like have the opportunity to put some income, maybe I'll sell something. Maybe I'll be able to put some income back into my business and pay the business bills, so that my passion and all of these things can keep kind of running. And now that we've moved, it's like the Lord has I took a sabbatical while we moved, and it was like, he pumped the brakes and was like, okay, your priorities are totally shifting. We're going to start homeschooling our daughter in the fall. So my mental focus needs to be on that. My priorities now are not necessarily using every single nap time and early mornings to just bang out all this content, to put out online. I just don't have the physical and emotional energy for that right now. Moving across the country is no joke. If you've ever done it, it's a huge emotional and spiritual toll, especially when you're doing it for ministry. And so I've been dealing with that, as well as just wanting to be available for our church's needs. Obviously, if it's a church plant, there's like 8 of us that are doing all the work. And so I want to be available for that. I want to be available for my neighbors. I don't want to have my head down in my computer so much working on this thing that, yes, it might be blessing someone out there that I don't know, but what about my next door neighbor that needs a friend or needs someone to come serve them or help them or just spur of the moment be there to talk with them? I don't want to miss those opportunities. And when the thing about my kind of overall business, the seasonal meal planner, the Natasha Red brand or whatever, is that, like Megan said, similarly, Beautycounter is producing the funds to pay for that, keep that running. And my long-term vision is that, there would be an opportunity to continue to do the things in those avenues that I love, which is teaching women, equipping women, being able to kind of resource and use those organization skills to resource women, but not have to like produce this physical product. So now we've gone to digital products and it's all good. But Beautycounter has afforded me basically that opportunity because I don't have to brainstorm the product ideas. I don't have to like manufacture anything. I don't have to even come up with any like marketing or verbiage or whatever. It's like, I use these in my daily life. I share what I love. I get to, basically have conversations with women about this, about their health, and it kind of sparks a natural conversation. And if they want to make that change and swap to safer products and choose Beautycounter in the process, I'm here to help them. I'm here as a guide to help them. And that's my business. I'm sure I left things out, but hopefully that kind of covers it.
I didn't know all of those details. I know exactly the conversation we had about Beautycounter because I thought you would be an amazing consultant, but I didn't know it was the post about my laptop.
I was
I'm
like,
using that laptop right now.
Really? Can you really make that kind of, it was just significant to me that I was like, okay, like that's no joke, like, so this is worth kind of getting some more information about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to share about the Beautycounter mission. So this to me, I love sharing about this because I feel like this is what sets us apart as a company. So first, let me say what we're not. We are not an MLM. We are not, I wouldn't even put us in the category of direct sales. I know a lot of people kind of like use that term because there's not, I think the way that we actually classify ourselves as a business model is new and fresh and different. And there's not a lot of companies that are doing it yet. I hope that there will be in the future, but we classify ourselves as a direct retail brand. So what that means is that you can shop Beautycounter basically 3 ways. You can shop e-commerce website like you would any other brand without a consultant. You don't have to go through anyone. You can just literally go online, buy a product, and be done. You can also shop at any of our retail stores, like our storefront stores. We have a storefront now in New York City. We have pop-ups that come up seasonally all across the country. There's probably one close to you. I feel like they're on every coast and all over. And so you can shop at a storefront if you want, which is great because you can touch and feel the products and try them out before you buy it. Or you can support the business of a consultant and shop online or in store through a consultant, having the awesome benefit of having a custom tailored, basically like a guide to walk you through, as Megan mentioned, skincare is such and personal care products in general, because we have more than skincare, but it's such a art. It's not a science. It's not a formula. And so it's nice to have someone that you can kind of bounce off like, well, this is what's been going on with my skin and this is what's been going on with my health, and kind of have someone to kind of bounce those ideas off of. Okay, so why are we structured this way as a brand? Well, our CEO, Greg Renfrew, she has a long career prior to starting Beautycounter in these major brands. She's really well connected. She totally could have put the products in a store like Nordstrom's and sold them. They're obviously beautiful, high-end products. She could have sold them that way, and that would have been perfectly fine. However, she is a passionate woman, and she wanted to affect change for the world, but starting here in the US and in Canada, where we currently sell our products. But she wanted to educate people. That's her thing. She wants to educate people, and products on a shelf just don't educate anyone. 20% of our country at this time currently have 20% of our country are the only people that know that ingredients in our products actually have an effect on our health. And so that's such a small amount of people. There's still much education that needs to be done. I feel like sometimes I tend to think, and Megan, I don't know if you feel this way, but like everyone must know this by now. Like I feel like people are starting to talk more about cleaning up our personal care products and all that stuff, and like what we put in our bodies and on our bodies and all of that. And so I feel like people must
day in and day out. We share.
Yeah, like we share it. Yeah. So I'm like, people must know. But the truth is only 20% of our country knows. And are they even doing anything about it? Do they have the resources to know, like, okay, well, great, so my toothpaste is toxic, like, now what? So do they have a guide to help them in that? Half of breast cancer diagnoses right now are actually environmentally triggered. They're not genetically triggered anymore. Doctors are telling their patients this is from your environmental causes. There was actually an investigation done by the Environmental Working Group that showed that 287 chemicals were found in the cord blood of a newborn baby. And I'm reading from some notes here because I did some research prior to this, but 180 of those chemicals are actually known to cause cancer. 217 of those chemicals are toxic to the brain and the nervous system, and 208 cause birth defects and abnormal development in animal tests. So what we put in our bodies, what we put on our bodies, it truly matters. And it matters that that we know this stuff so that we can make informed decisions and be good stewards of the bodies that God has given us, and help others to do the same as they're able. And so we know that these things have a significant effect on our bodies over the long haul. So because of this, Beautycounter has been very diligent to test. Like Megan said, we batch test 3 times for heavy metals. We have created a list known as the Never List, where we have said, okay, these 1,500 ingredients that are questionable, we're never going to include them in our formulations. We're just going to like nix them and come up with other creative ways to produce high-performing products. My earbud came out, that also are safe for our bodies. And we're constantly, research is constantly coming out, and I feel like our team at HQ is constantly like evolving and re-evolving things as new research comes out. And so I feel like our standards are super high. We're the only company that does that, by the way, that like batch tests our products. It's a very time-consuming and expensive process for companies to do that, but I think it just shows the standard, like just the high standard that Beautycounter has to protect the health of the individuals who are purchasing their products. The other side to the mission is advocacy. And so we kind of have the arm of like that one, we've got the problem of like, we need safer products, but we also need products that perform. So you've got like the all natural, completely organic, completely natural products that cost a pretty penny, but maybe don't even perform up to the way that we're used to or that we would prefer. And then you've got the toxic products that perform super well, but leave us feeling just gross and sick and lethargic and are disrupting our hormones and causing issues with our health, right? So Beautycounter is like the best of both worlds. We use the power of safe synthetic ingredients and natural ingredients to create a safe, high-performing product. So we're solving that problem right there and giving the solution there. But we're also seeking to change the laws and require more regulation in the beauty industry so that future generations can have more access to health protective laws. And this was a huge kind of important piece to me as I joined as a consultant, because I thought, okay, it's not lost on me that it's a luxury for me to afford these products, even with the discount as a consultant. It's a luxury. Like, it's a privilege. The vast majority of our country and the world could never afford these safe products. However, Beautycounter is like on the front lines of trying to change the laws so that anyone who walks into Walgreens or Walmart can buy the $5 shampoo and know without a shadow of a doubt that it is safe for them. Because that was a big concern of mine. As we look at like the racial and social disparities of like our country, it's like, why? Why should some people have access to good, healthy food or good, safe products and other people not? And so the fact that through lending our voice and just being at home with my kiddos and like loving on them and then like doing this business in the margins, I can affect that kind of change is really, really powerful. And so as believers, Megan and I, we know we're called to live on mission. And we also know that not every single person is called to pick up this specific cause as their mission. But with our kind of health journeys, and there's way more that we could share about our own personal health struggles, and how cleaning up our environment, our food, just kind of all those different puzzle pieces of our health has significantly changed our personal health, the health of our families, our communities. It's significant to us. And so we want to be able to lend our voices and offer an opportunity for others to lend their voice in whatever way, big or small, to continue to change the industry. Because I feel like in the last 10 years, we've seen the food industry change, right? We've seen the rise of, like, even, for example, the Whole30, who now products have changed their packaging to have Whole30 label on their brand, like on their packaging, so that people know that if they're doing that, that it works for it, like now there's whole aisles in grocery store that have gluten-free options and dairy-free options, and that are coming out with, grocery stores are coming out with their own lines that, are free of like preservatives and chemicals in their foods. That's been years in the making of consumers saying, hey, we demand better in this marketplace. And we're doing the same thing in the personal care industry. And our goal and hope is that 10 years from now, we'll be so much closer to that goal, and this won't even be a problem, right? That we could maybe send people to Whole Foods and not have to wonder if they're going to get something that's actually safe and effective. So hopefully that covers it. Megan, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I don't think so. Specifically, I think you did a great job of answering that. The one thing I was thinking of that you and I are both surprised about is the fact that our products do last a long time. So even though,
oh my gosh, yeah,
even though they are more expensive, they last a long time. And I mean, I have things that I've had a couple of things I've actually had to throw away because I was like, I don't think they should be open this long. Like kind of the ends of it. So it's a really good investment. I think that's just as kind of talking to potential future consultants, and they're like, okay, are you going to go through your foundation in like 2 months? No, I think I go through my foundation in a year. So the dollar per use is not super high.
Yeah.
That was the one.
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
Okay.
It really ends up evening out, I think. Like you might spend more up front, but it lasts so much longer. So you're not replenishing like as much as the stuff I was buying at CVS, for example. So yeah.
Right.
Longer. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to dive in to just the nuts and bolts of being a consultant and what that looks like and just what it entails to be a consultant. So these are kind of the facts and figure part. Natasha, you just did an amazing job, like communicating the heart behind what we do, but I want to get into the details of what we do too. So it is $98 to sign up. It is like you said, you did a perfect job of saying, investing in a brick and mortar business, an online business, like starting something from scratch is going to be hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, just depending on what it is. And so it's a very inexpensive way to start a business. And so that's just wonderfully, the sky's the limit then for that. And then you get a website link. You get some products. So you get an overnight resurfacing peel and a color intense lipstick. I'm wearing one of them right now. And then you get some business aids and a little bit of Beautycounter swag. So you get stuff with that too. Then you have the opportunity to choose a starter set. There's 3 starter sets, the small, medium, and the large. And the starter sets are about 40% off. So it's the one and only time that our normal 25% off discount becomes around 40. I think the biggest one might be 43% off, and you get to purchase that at startup. So that means, and I always encourage, if you can, to buy a starter set, to buy that, because then you have the products, you get to like feel them in your hands, you get to try them, you get to sample them out. When I signed up, I did not buy the starter set, and I wished that I would have. And then another consultant signed up, and I ended up buying a starter set from them. So that like a year later, and I was like, oh my goodness, I had never tried. Well, at this point we didn't have the product line that we had. So I hadn't tried like many different parts to our skincare routines. And my business grew because I tried products and I could speak about them. So it's not always feasible to start with the starter set, but if you can, definitely do it because you get that big discount also. if you want to know which one is the best one, I think the middle one is the best because you get the most product, but not like a ton of product. You don't get as much of more of the body stuff or the shampoo or the kids stuff. There's some included in the larger one. But the middle one, I think you can grow a like wonderful business using all those products, talking about them, and then buying anything in addition. And then there's some add-ons too. There's a Flawless in 5 add-on, and there is a Counter Man add-on now. So you can get an additional discount on some like groupings of products within that. So being a consultant, you get 25% off. That is our perk. And then we also make 25% commission. Now, depending on what you sell, you can make more. So you can make, if you sell $750 up to $3,000, you can make 5% more, 7% more, or 10% more. And I will not go all into the comp plan now, but just know that you could, based on your retail sales, make 35%, which that is a really significant, I feel like dollar amount just by personal sales. And then if you grow a team, you can, earn more doing that too. As a consultant, we get some pre-sale discounts, which is really cool. So if they, like when they were launching brow gel or when they were launching eyeshadow palettes, we got the opportunity to get them early to try them out, and we got a discount on that. So that's just a really kind of small thing, but fun thing. I think it's really fun to be able to just like have the insight into the products that they're creating and have them a little bit early. And then to qualify to stay a consultant. So many companies, and Natasha, I can't remember if you said this, we call ourselves direct retail because we have those 3 ways to shop. And so because we're a direct retail company, a lot of network marketing or just traditional direct sales, you have a dollar amount that you need to a dollar amount you need to spend each month to receive your commission, to get paid, or to stay active. And we do not have a monthly one, which is really great because then you're not going, okay, I already have all the makeup that I need. Maybe in 3 months I need something, but I don't need something this month, but I have to order. We have every 6 months, you have to meet $1,200 in qualifying volume. And that breaks down to about $200 a month. So it's not a lot between your own purchases. So your own purchases qualify. So with your own purchases and selling. So I think, if you buy a starter set and then you're kind of building up your stash, you can almost hit the $1,200, right? Within that first 6 months. You get just a few loyal customers. That's not that easy. That's not that hard to hit. It's a fairly easy thing to hit. So then, like I said, I won't get into the comp plan, but I think that we have a really well laid out comp plan that whether or not you choose to just sell on your own or you choose to build a team, that it can be very lucrative for your own sales. And that's really good because you want to get compensated for the work that you're doing and the amount that you're selling. And then also within us and our team, if you sign up, we would become your mentors, your upline, I guess you could say it. And we have a really great team. And I know, Natasha, you can speak to this too. One of the faster growing teams in Beautycounter. And I love being a part of our team with all the resources that we have. We've got people that are smaller bloggers, are huge bloggers, have other businesses that they're running or that just do home-based Beautycounter businesses. So there's just the whole gamut of all the different ways that you can run this business. I think we have those resources on our team too. Okay, did I miss anything, Natasha?
Okay, one thing I wanted to add is that you don't have to, you make money on every single thing you sell. So even if you sell one lipstick, you get a commission on that one lipstick. So there's no like minimum sales to get your paycheck.
Oh, yes.
Just wanted to clarify that as well. And with the $1,200 in 6 months, I feel like, to me, I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'll be able to hit that. Because you really just don't know when you start, like, am I going to make any sales? But to give you some perspective, I hit that mark in 2 months, I believe, 2 or 3 months when I first started. It's very doable. An average order is about $100. And if you choose to do a pop-up, like a launch pop-up, basically an event, whether it's online or in person, to say, hey, I am partnering with Beautycounter to educate on safer products. Most pop-ups bring in about $500. So that just kind of gives you an idea of like how that could happen in your business.
I love that you said that. Yes, because a lot of people do at the beginning go, I don't know if I can hit that. And even when I first started, and I wasn't even trying very hard because it was just my affiliate program, I was able to maintain consultant status. And then now I don't even think about it because that's where business has grown to. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you want to jump into some Q&As?
Yeah. So, I have some, go ahead.
I was just going to say with Q&As, we compiled some questions that you guys had and some frequently asked questions. So we're just going to kind of popcorn through them, trying to be as concise as we can with our answers, but still give you guys a lot of the details, because we know that just presenting the consultant opportunity isn't always, you're like, okay, I got that, but here are my questions. And Lindsay, I see that you asked your question about phenoxyethanol, and I will get to that too. But yeah. Anyways, okay, now you can go.
Okay, so I got a couple questions beforehand that I wanted to address. So one was kind of a three-part list of concerns / questions. So I have 0 online presence. I want to keep my personal life private and not come off pushy and salesy. So I'm going to address kind of each one. So 0 online presence. Okay, first of all, I want to say if you choose to build your business online, which I think is a great opportunity, whether you have a large following or not, because we're a social world. Everyone is on Instagram, especially. And so, yeah, if we use social media to share about our lives, to share what we're cooking, to share what we're learning, to share about our kids, to, just share what we're loving about life, we are content creators, whether we know it or not. Mm-hmm. And the way I always like to think about it is, when would you ever, especially as a mom, if you're a stay-at-home mom or whatever, like, when would I ever have an audience of 30 people or 200 people or 500 people? Like 200 or 300 Instagram followers may seem like nothing to you, but when would you ever have the opportunity to get in a room full of 200 people? That would feel super significant if you stood in front of those people and shared your heart with them, right? So try not to compare yourself to bloggers or people, or even Megan and I. If you see, like, following does not count for much. It's really the connections that you make. If people trust you, if they know that you have integrity, then they will trust you, and you can have connections and conversations start. And that's what grows a business online, is a connection with people, like a true connection with people. So that's what I would say about that.
Mm-hmm. I'll add one more thing to that.
Yes,
I have
please.
a friend who she's very, very private, but she wanted to leverage social media. And so she has a private Instagram account that she doesn't share her kids on. And it's pretty much solely Beautycounter and some other health stuff, but solely Beautycounter. She's got maybe 300 followers, and she has an amazing business, amazing business. And she's like, this is just what works for me. I could start the blog. I could have the following. I could make this public, but it's just not my comfort zone. And she has an incredible business because she's staying true to what makes her feel comfortable in terms of sharing and growing her business. So I always use her as an example, because it's very significant, like you said, to have those couple hundred people. Even if you have 50 customers and all 50 of them follow you on social media, like, that can build a great business that continues to grow.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think some of our top leaders on our, in our overall team don't have huge followings. So it really doesn't have anything to do with that. Okay. I don't want to come off pushy or salesy. So here's my 2 cents on this. And Megan, I want you to share as well. But, on social media, we share our authentic selves. If we share our authentic selves and show up vulnerable, we're going to make a connection. I kind of mentioned that before, but we're not going to push you or want you even to share all of the HQ beautiful photographed images. Like, it's better for you to say, like, here's what I'm washing my face with tonight. Like, in your very imperfect, unstyled way, to just share authentically what you're doing, how you're learning, how you're processing. Oh my goodness, guys, I just shared a product that was like, that had fragrance in it. Like our number one, like terrible ingredient for a lot of reasons I won't go into, but, and had to like come back and apologize and say like, I'm sorry I shared that product with you. I didn't do the full extent of research that I should have. So like, please forgive me. And I'm going to be looking for something else for my curly hair. So like, and at first I was like, ugh, this is so annoying to me. But then I was like, you know what? Like it's a journey and it's a process, and no one wants to feel like someone out there that they're watching on social media has it all together. So I think as much as you can show up and share meaningful, helpful, educational content, you're going to win in business. We're an education first company. That's what we're about. We want to educate people and share what we love about the product, certainly, but never have I ever felt pushy or salesy. I guess technically it's a sales job, but I never consider it that way. I feel like we need to come into being a consultant looking at it like, I'm here to serve. Like I'm here to serve people. I'm here to solve a problem that they might be having and offer a solution. And if that solution fits in with what they need, then that's awesome. I can hopefully be a guide to help them on their journey. But I'm not trying to get sales. I'm trying to love people, serve people, and that's how we grow a successful business. Meg, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, that and just a tiny bit more is Greg Renfrew said not too long ago, she goes, we are all leaders and we're all followers. And that hit me because she's like, we always are recommending and we're always selling. Looking at this as like, I'm just going to sell and I'm going to be super pushy. First of all, if you think that if you're like, I don't want to be pushy, if you already know that, you're not going to be pushy.
Yeah.
So I always say like, if that's your concern, I don't even think you have to worry about it because you wouldn't do anything that would be pushy. But we are always telling our friends, hey, hey, I love Chipotle. Did you know that they have really high quality ingredients for like fast food and you don't break the bank and it's awesome? And here's the way I make a paleo bowl, or here's the way I make it dairy free, or here's where I can get the extras, or how I build a bowl to get extras for my kid. Like I will tell you that. So I just sold you Chipotle, right? But you don't look at it like, wow, you really pushed Chipotle on me. And I don't know if I liked that. And like, maybe I should take that down off my social media. And like, we just don't weigh that. And I get that it's different. Like I'm not saying I have no struggle in sales or anything like that, but we all lead and we all follow. We are always saying like, I share all the time things with friends, like, oh, I love this diaper because I've gone through the gamut of all of the more natural diapers. Hey, I'm really liking this one right now. Like I had this conversation not too long ago. So I was leading there. But then when somebody else says, hey, here's a really awesome product that I'm using, or, cleaning product, whatever it is, then I'm the follower. And so I think if we look at it just more as interacting, like you said, Natasha, with people, then and serving them and helping them, then it's not as much sales. And if you look at it, what really sells is education. So if you are telling people that it is important that they look at their personal care products, that they rate them, that they choose safer products, and that we love Beautycounter, we believe and know, because I've been, in the natural food like grocery stores and buying all of the foundation that doesn't last past 10 a.m. and knowing they don't perform. Like I know our products perform. I know that they're safe. I believe, based on what I know, that we have some of the safest products out there and the more stringent testing and just guidelines. And our never list is always growing. And that I know that they work well. So I'm going to educate you on why we need to do that, why we need to avoid fragrance, and why it is so sneaky. I got caught with native deodorant, by the way, Natasha, because I was like, this is great. I've heard good things. Oh, there's fragrance on the list. And I read it twice too.
Yeah. And you're like, I know I read this label.
They're sneaky.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's why it smells so great, because it's not essential oils or, whatever. And who knows what else is shoved in there. And so we do get caught up on that. And I think just being for you going, hey, this hair product, like, this was not such a great idea. Like I didn't read it, but being vulnerable and explaining that, like you are going to gain even more trust with people and realize that we do live in a world, like our goal with Beautycounter, just kind of as a side note, with like passing laws for safety, is to start off bringing our personal care and beauty products up to the safety of food. So with like when there's all the different like bacteria outbreaks in spinach or romaine lettuce, like the FDA says stop buying lettuce. They pull lettuce from the shelf. We all know that there's that in the beauty industry. There can be microbes in there, and it can be not good. And companies can choose to pull that or not, or they can sell it to you. Like there's not even a basic safety standard. And it's different. In the US here, we can sell anything. In Europe, not. So the big, huge companies that are taking notice of Beautycounter, by the way, they have a different product that they sell in Europe because the European Union doesn't allow what we allow. And then they can make really cheap, more harmful products over here. And you can't blame them because it's the law. They can do it, but we want to change that. So it's just educating on things like that. People are like, oh, I had no idea. Because I think it's 1% of people even know about Beautycounter.
Yeah.
People don't know. And when you know better, you do better. And you're going to purchase different products. And it's exciting when people grasp a hold of that. And as much as there's like a quote that somebody had that has been circulating. If you think I just sell lipstick, you're not paying attention. And it's like, but it is so fun when somebody's like, I found the perfect red lipstick and it's safe. Like that's exciting because there's something really fun about red and pink lipstick. I don't know. There is for me. And so it's cool when people grasp the education behind it. And then you get to be like, okay, go ahead, wear the red lipstick and know that there are not any heavy metals in there that are going to harm your health. So it's really cool.
Okay. I feel like that's a really perfect segue into answering the question that Lindsay had about the preservative. Because you were kind of talking about testing and sourcing, and that's important when it comes to that ingredient. So why don't you go for it?
Okay. So the phenoxyethanol is the preservative that we use in all of the products that need a preservative. So anything that needs water needs a preservative, or the shelf life is like so short, and you're most likely going to get some sort of mold, bacteria growth in there within days, weeks. And so Lindsay Dahl, she's our Senior Vice President of Social Mission, and she does a lot with advocacy. She actually has a blog post on lindsaydahl.com, and she goes through it in a lot of detail, but I've studied this. She links to different studies. There's only 2 studies that have been done on phenoxyethanol, and it's in mass quantities, and there's just a lot of flaws to the studies. So we use a very small amount, less than 1%, and we've done a ton of research. So Lindsay always says, we are always looking for better options and better preservatives, but currently this is the best one out there, the safest one out there. And in all the studies that have been done, that we have even done, there's been no studies and no research coming back showing that it is harmful to our health, that is a carcinogen, or it disrupts hormones or anything. So we feel safe using it, especially in such a small amount. But we are always, always, always working on trying to find something better. And then I think it was Herbivore. They just recalled their face cream because it was like incredibly moldy, and they didn't have a preservative in that. And that's also something, when you were saying DIY products, we have to be careful of our DIY products too, because a lot of them can grow different mold or bacteria, and we don't know that. And so that was news to me, because I was like, the same thing. Can I DIY everything? And then you have all these products and they don't really perform. All these ingredients. It takes all this time. Sometimes I just want to buy the pretty thing with the pretty label, right? But just knowing that it might not be the safest option either was eye-opening to me. So Lindsay, I hope that answers your question, because that's a really common one that we get. But you can find links and more explanation at Lindsay Dahl with an AY, Dahl, DAHL.com.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, the other question I had that came in on Instagram was how to do this beyond family and friends, success of building through social media. So we did kind of cover that, but I just wanted to say again that we will mentor you specifically on how to grow this business that fits with you, your goals of how you want to grow this business, your life season, all that stuff. And it can ebb and flow with what's going on with your life. So if you want to grow this with, the people in your local community, or if you want to grow this solely online or a mixture of both or whatever, we're here to support you. We're here to mentor you, help you brainstorm what that's going to look like. But I just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit more. That's all the questions that I had. Megan, what about like some of the FAQs?
Okay. So I have a few more. I feel like a lot of people ask how many hours a week do we work? So I work about 10 to 15. I've one, and I'm giving you details because a lot of people want to know. And if you're like, I'm going to dive into this, like, I need to know what I'm going to sign up for. Cause it's not like, oh, it's super part-time. And then to me, part-time is like 35 hours a week or something. Right. Or like, it's just like, I can do this in my free time. And you're like, well, I have an hour of free time a day. Like, can I build a business? So I work about 10 to 15 hours a week. The vast majority is spent on Beautycounter now. And I have one work day. I call it Wednesday work day around here. And I have childcare for that day. Otherwise, I fit it into some earlier mornings, a couple evenings. I have a little one. She's just old enough now that she doesn't like need me all evening, right? Like they do when they're little. I don't do as many in-person events. I do most of my business online because it just works best for our family. But I want to say that starting out, I know a lot of people who have built very successful businesses, slow and steady, consistent activity in about an hour a day. If you can put your head down and work for an hour, you can get a lot accomplished and a lot of growing in this business. And then you can grow this business as much as you want. You might say, I just want something on the side because I'd like to make a little bit of money and I want to make a social impact. I want to help people. I want to educate about this. You can do that. If you're like, I'm looking to replace my corporate job and I want out, but I want to work for myself and I want this to be like a full-time income and a full-time gig, you can do that too. Like if you want this to be a hobby, you can do that. So Natasha, you can jump in and kind of share how many hours a week you work and what that looks like.
Yeah. So currently, I don't even work every single weekday. I don't have childcare anymore where we live now. And I can't rely on nap times every single day, nor do I want to in this season of my life. So I have found that, you said an hour, I would say even if you have 15 minutes or 30 minutes daily that you can be consistent with, it's not necessarily the hours a week, but the consistent investing time consistently. So if you take weeks off and don't, kind of are sporadic about it, you're going to see the results there. But if you are consistent, I feel like I have built a business that I am intentionally growing slow and steady, I would say, but I have seen consistent growth because that's what I have to offer. And as I consistently am faithful month in and month out with the time that I do have, it grows and it grows. Because your old customers reorder and then you gain new customers. So over time that multiplies. So I would say if I had to like average it out, I probably work on like a high end, like 5 hours a week, probably right now. And that's great for me. And that's still bringing in income, like I said, to pay for my business bills and also pay us some money as well. So yeah.
And it switches in seasons of life too.
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm. I used to work more.
Yeah, right. And
yeah.
And I did too. And this is actually me working 10 to 15 hours a week is my more right now. And when I was pregnant, it was less. My first trimester, I think I maybe squeaked out about 3 hours a week. When Evie was really little, I took 3 months off, except for when Beautycounter announced a huge sale. I was like, I'm going to pull something together and we're going to work with a sleeping newborn. And my husband was off, so he watched the toddler. Like there's some seasons that ebb and flow, or I could have chosen to not promote that sale at all. And that would have been just fine too. So you can choose that. And that's really cool about this business. Lindsay, you had another question. What would you say the average consultant on your team makes monthly? It all depends. It completely depends. So if you search income disclosure statement for Beautycounter, you can look at what the different ones make. I have replaced, so I work a third of what I did as a chiropractor, and I have replaced my chiropractic income. So I make a full-time income on Beautycounter, and I don't work as much. And I don't, like, I loved being a chiropractor and I loved taking care of people's health, but it is a massive responsibility to take care of people's health. And I couldn't do that and be a mom and be good at anything and not be super, super stressed out. And just like you said, Natasha, in this season, you work less, and you are, and I will say this, I'm going to brag on you right now. You are so consistent and you are so loyal, and you are just love on your customers and your people and your entire business. And you have had really awesome sales, not working a ton, but by putting out good content and continuing, like, people know that you sell Beautycounter. People know that you teach on meal planning. Like, they can rely on that. And I think that that's huge. And another person was telling me a story. They're like, I have a friend that bought from me and didn't buy from a friend that she's closer to. Does that even make sense? And who's also a consultant. She goes, I kind of felt bad about that at first. And I was like, hey, did you know that you did you mean to order through me? Shouldn't you have ordered through so-and-so? And she goes, no, I chose to order through you because you were consistent in your business. And I knew that if I had a question, a return, if I, like, 6 months down the road, I wanted some advice on something, that you would be there because you've done this business for a couple years now. And I wanted that consistency. And I wanted to know that you weren't just kind of like in and out. And so that was really cool and really encouraging. So if you do show up for 15 minutes a day, however you are, in person, sending somebody samples, getting on social media, that people know that you're there, they take note and they take notice and they buy from you. It's really cool. So, okay, that was, I believe, the kind of questions. I think I had one more. Kind of on the lines of, you said, I don't know anybody who'd want to buy, and like, is this a good time to join now? So Beautycounter was the #1 Google beauty brand in 2018. This isn't like within the clean space, the safer skincare space. This was in all of beauty, and big companies are taking note. And I think that it's always a good time to join, right? Like, we're always going to say that if it's your time to join a business and start a business, it's your time. But I think we're on this big bubble of so many people starting to know about Beautycounter. I don't know if the stat is 100% accurate. It was at one time 1% of people knew about Beautycounter when they surveyed. I'm going to say now, it's not even 10. I bet it's at maybe a 5. Maybe if we were to take last year, which got a lot more press. Like, we are in the press a lot. People are taking notice of what we're doing in advocacy, what we're doing in our products that perform, and that we're really leading this, not just safe skincare, because there used to be the green, like, oh, it's like, you want to have green products. No, we want clean products. That's very different. And so I think it's a great time to join. And then it's low overhead. I couldn't run another business. Like, I know the overhead that goes into brick and mortar. I've been a part of it before. I know the overhead that goes into, like, designing products and paying designers and doing all that, because I've done it. I still do a little of it. And then also, you don't need much to join. Like, you need your phone. Like, you can do all business on this thing. You can take pictures, you can edit pictures. I don't ever take my big camera out anymore. Like, it's on here. I have Lightroom. I post photos. You don't need much, and people want your own photos. And even if you've read all of, HQ's Beautycounter's photos, like, they're all there too, and they're pretty, but people really do want you. They want your photos. They want your face. So you only need your phone. And there's just not a lot of businesses that you can do that. I talk to Natasha a lot, our whole team, on Voxer, texting, and our Facebook group. And so much is done just like through our phones and online, that I feel like, if you're wondering, can I fit this in, or I don't leave my house much. Like, we don't leave the house much outside of, like, errands, meeting with friends. I try to have And this will not be the case for everybody. A lot of people I have people on my team who love in-person events. To me, in this season, to get out with a little one who is nursing and needs me and only goes down at bedtime really for me, I'm not going to do a lot of pop-ups in the evening. So I do most online and educate a lot online. And that's just how I do it. That works for us. And you can design this business that works really well for your life, for your season of life. And who knows, in a year, I might be like the in-person pop-up queen, right? Like, I don't know, or I may not. And I think that's cool that you can decide that. So that was just one thing I wanted to say. Like you don't need much to start the business. And then Natasha, do you want to wrap up, share our special with them?
Yeah. So right now we are offering half off enrollment. So Megan mentioned in the beginning that it's $98 to join. So that would make it $46, Meg?
$49.
$49 to join from now until next Tuesday. So a week to kind of think about this, discuss it with your husband, pray about it, whatever, and make a decision if this is the right fit for you. Obviously, Megan and I are both available for any questions. If you're like, oh, I thought about this and I'm wondering about that, shoot us a message, send us an email. We're happy to help you process. If you are a Band of Beauty member, that makes your enrollment only $34.50. So I was telling Meg this morning, like, that's the cost of its shirt. Like, that's the cost of like a new outfit that you could start a business that could impact your family and bring in, like we were talking about, whether it's a hobby and it simply covers the cost of your products or pays for your mortgage or your groceries or replaces a corporate income. It can be anywhere within that spectrum. I just think that's a fantastic opportunity. So that's our offer, half off enrollment. Yeah, we would love to gift this to you in that way. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then if you, to contact one of us, whoever you signed up with, you heard about it from, and we can, like I said, Natasha said, we can chat with you, we can get on the phone, we can email back and forth. We want to answer your questions. We're here for you. And then we have that one-on-one mentoring between us, with our bigger team. And we're just really excited because we've seen this business like really change our businesses. You do not have to have an established business at all, like ours was to do this, but to see how it's changed our businesses. Where we spend our time has been crazy, and the blessing that has been for our family. My husband was laid off, it was last year, for 7 or 8 months. And we just kept saying like, we've got like 3 months until we don't have money. Like we've got nothing. And then Beautycounter grew a little bit more. And then we're like, okay, we can make it another couple months. And we were able to survive this layoff, which we just never thought that like that extra income would like keep our family afloat at that time. And our goal was we weren't going to compromise on the food that we ate. Like we were going to like stop buying all the things except for our food and like our basic supplements, because we wanted to take care of ourselves. And we got to still like fuel our bodies well, and just knowing how like sick my body was and how much food affects me, like that was huge. And so that really opened my husband and my eyes to just the like blessing and power of this business that like I don't take for granted. And so we just would love, and that's why we're sharing. We want you to join us if you feel like this is the time, this is the business to do so. It's so fun. And we're there to mentor you and to help grow your business and to encourage you in your goals, however you want to grow it. We are here for you.
100%.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
I think that's all for me.
Okay. Wonderful. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and let us know if you have any other questions.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate your time.